All right, let's move it into the mailbag. Abby Barmore, where are you starting us out with this week?
Okay, here we go. Would you be more surprised if Nebraska goes 3-9 or 9-3?
3-9.
3-9.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they went 3-9 because the schedule.
Yeah.
Right. There's a few. I mean,
A lot of things would need to go wrong for them to go
God.
through.
I mean, there's actually
Yeah,
a very optimistic road, but 9-3, like there's a road to 9-3.
there is. It's really optimistic.
I mean, it's the backdoor path into the restaurant, but it's not.
Right.
It's not unattainable. I mean,
No, it's
yeah.
not unattainable.
I mean, you could just say like Michigan, Wisconsin, and one other one, and then they win 9. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, but 3-9 would surprise me.
Oh God, it would shock me. I mean, in the context of Colorado, Northern Illinois,
La Tech,
and who's the other one? Well, those are the main ones.
Well,
You're going to win 3 is my point. Would you lose the rest?
Northwestern, you hope?
Yeah. You think Purdue you got a pretty good shot against? 3-9.
Northern Illinois is a sneaky game, though.
Kind.
I mean, they have a 7th-year quarterback.
They're 3-9 in last year.
Yeah, but they've got a lot returning. I mean, they received some first-place votes in the MAC.
Yeah.
Rocky Lombardi is back for a 7th year.
That is incredible. We saw him here
Mhm.
playing when Scott Frost was still sort of the favorite son. Right?
That was
I
a
mean,
win in the snow game.
Yeah, 9-3.
I was talking to Frank Solich for the book thing this week, and we were talking about the schedule off the interview, and I said, "Yeah, and do you believe Rocky Lombardi? He's back for a 7th year." And Frank goes, "7th year? Are you kidding me?" Like, I mean, that's just like catch you by surprise.
Yeah, the old school guys really don't know what to do with that.
No.
Last year at Big Ten Media Days, I was struck by the humor of Garrett Nelson when he said he didn't even know what year he was. Because I'm not sure exactly because of COVID.
Yeah.
I think I'm a junior.
Which makes me feel better because I struggle enough. If the players themselves don't know what
Yeah,
year they are,
exactly.
that makes me feel a lot
I
better.
mean, these
Exactly.
players are in school long enough now, and they go to enough summer school, and they graduate early from high school. They get a master's degree when they're here now. I mean,
Seriously.
all right, let's go. Next question.
Okay, there's been a lot going on at Northwestern and all over their athletic program. Do you think that the Huskers are going to pursue any of Northwestern's transfer portal guys?
Boy,
I don't
haven't heard
think
anything.
so.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
It's really late.
That's the thing. Like maybe if this was going down in like January, maybe. But even then, it's kind of a dicey deal where like you almost look like a vulture poaching, swooping around some injured animal or something like that. So I mean, like it happens, but for Nebraska at this point, I don't see it.
If my son was at Northwestern, I would advise them stay at Northwestern right now. You're getting a great education. Why the heck would you mess that up right now? Because what football situation could you possibly walk into that's going to help you out right away for this year? And you sure as hell aren't going to find probably an academic situation that gives you what you have right now.
Well, now if some of these allegations are true, you wonder about
Mental abuse. and-
what's going on in the program. Which
True. That's a good point.
I would take a look at that, but I see where you're coming from.
Next question.
Okay, next one. Which Big Ten teams this upcoming football season do you think will be the biggest risers and the biggest fallers?
Purdue. I think Purdue could be a lot better than people think. They added
man.
Hudson Card.
I thought you were way out on Walters.
I have to be open-minded, Robin. They have some guys on that team. I love Maccabee. I like the addition of Card. They're good up front on defense. They're tough. This is a tough team. They just won the West. I can't believe the dip will be that bad. It wasn't like Braum was. I mean, he was. A lot of people are pretty glad to see him go.
They had like a 6-year quarterback and a 6-year receiver, though, last year.
Mhm. Charlie Jones and Aiden McConnell.
I mean, those guys were gone. They're in the NFL.
Mhm.
So,
McConnell was really good. I will give you
and
that.
Charlie Jones was really good.
Yeah, he was good, and he tailed off because of injuries. But McConnell was, as I said last week to Rob, McConnell was making throws against Nebraska that were freaky. I mean, they were freaky throws. Like you just don't see guys at college make very often.
They backdoored into the West because Iowa and Wisconsin and Illinois could not finish it.
Yeah,
I'm not
Illinois
saying
choked in the
Purdue
end.
is going to repeat. I just think they're picked second to last. I could see them finishing higher.
I mean, Nebraska could be the surprise team for all. I mean, they have the potential. I mean, I think Maryland's the one that you can say, hey, they could knock off one of the big three. Like, could they get one of those three? That that to me would constitute as a surprise.
Yeah, I don't see any big surprises in the East just because of how good those top 3 teams are.
Right.
Maryland would be the closest thing to it. For me, it's going to come from the West, and I think Illinois is still going to be better than people think. I mean, just because of that defense. And can they compete for the West? Maybe. But for the drop, I'm not sold on Wisconsin yet. Maybe that changes after a couple games and I actually get to see it, but I just don't have enough trust in what that picture is going to look like to think that, for one, they're going to be Wisconsin that we're used to, but then also that they're going to win the West like some people are picking.
I think they're going to be really well coached.
Michigan State, like losing 2 really good players in the portal right before the end of the spring ball ended, that could they not make a bowl again when you're paying
5-7 last year?
When you're paying $90 million, that's a problem.
5-7 last year. If you finish sub 500 again for Mel Tucker, that's a problem.
And I believe Ross Ells and Ted Gilmore and TJ Hollowell are all part of that staff there. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit of a Nebraska flavor on that Mel Tucker staff.
They actually had 20 players going to transfer portal after last year. That's rocky. It's rocky for Tucker.
All right, next question.
Okay. Other than Nebraska's representatives, which coaches are you most excited to listen to at Big Ten Media Days?
Well, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It's
always Harbaugh.
Suddenly became a lot more interesting.
He's always interesting, though.
Yeah.
I do enjoy listening to Harbaugh because it's strange. It's usually a strange sort of there's strange encounters with him.
Depends on what kind of mood he's in. Like if he's interested in engaging, then he can get kind of out there, which is fun. But other times he just wants nothing to do with it and can be the exact opposite. David Braun. I mean, he's going to be the first Northwestern official to comment publicly since all this stuff went down.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I mean, he's scheduled to.
Yeah. Did you see they've tried to like hire an advisor to the head coach, where they've tried to get like a former head coach that's available to come in and kind of work with him, and they've been turned down?
I'll bet.
I want to say the old Miss coach was approached, Matt Luke.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And somebody else, but they almost want to kind of team him up with a mentor.
Wow, that's a strange situation. That is. You don't hear that very often, right? That's
somebody that could help guide him running a program, because he's never run a program, let alone through a crisis.
Right. Are you really excited to hear anybody? I mean, I guess the answer is no. I'm not. I mean, Matt Rule,
right?
Because he. I mean, listen, we're going to have a lot of material coming out of Indy. We'll have a lot of material. But we're in sort of a conference where there's not. You know, if you're in the SEC, you might say Lane Kiffin, kind of funny in his own Lane Kiffin way. You're interested to hear Saban and Kirby, smart. But in the Big Ten, who is it? You know, who really entertains you at this point?
Yeah, and Harbaugh is probably the closest.
Harbaugh.
All right, Abby Barmore, final question.
Okay, so you've all been to a lot of Big Ten media days in several sports. What is the most memorable coach or player interview from Big Ten media days?
That's a tough one. I mean, because you're going all the way back to the Big 12 days.
Yeah, I'm going back to 96.
I went to my first one in 2000.
Sean, you've been doing a long time too.
I worked for 1620 back then, and they would have me. I had to get the coaches for Kevin Kugler, so I would run around and grab the coaches and sit them down and the players and go for them back. And I got a gopher. I got pretty good at it though. Like you learn how not to take the word no, and you kind of just tell the coach, "Hey, coach, we're taking you over here. We're bringing you over here." And you know, to get like Mac Brown in that era, to get Bob Stoops, There was a moment I remember. I don't remember. All these things sort of run together in your head. But when Bo was the head coach and it was his first year, Stoops was at Oklahoma, Youngstown guys, and Stoops did his thing at the podium. I think it was after Bo. Yeah, it was after Bo. Bo had left, and he called and wondered what Stoops said about him. And I thought that was I was maybe overly fascinated by that, but he wanted to know what Bob said about him, if anything. And that was, but a lot of things I don't. There's a lot of media days I don't remember being at. The Big Ten, I always felt, was a different event than the Big 12 ones we did.
Why is that?
Nicer, like kind of
stuffier,
country clubbish,
stuffier,
like
less characters.
like
Far less character.
you'd get kind of like a bunch of
Get
Southern.
Leach.
I mean,
you get Leach.
Yeah,
for Big
that was going
12.
to be my answer. Was like pretty much any Mike Leach podium interview,
RIP.
just because he could be talking about the most mundane thing, but say it in a way to where you're like fully entertained.
You had
the
Leach. You
entire-
had Gundy.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were Gundy's entertaining. They're way more entertaining.
Yes.
They were. I mean, those guys were fun.
Yeah, the Big Ten, it's like a established country club of prestige. And even, I mean, the media, you're dressed up nicer at this one, where in the Big 12, there'd be guys in shorts and flip-flops walking around. And I mean, it was just a little bit more casual.
Yeah, it was.
A lot more casual.
They used to always, what I always remember, the Big 12, they kind of did a lot for the media at those events back in the day. Like you would go to like a Rangers game or a Royals game, and then they would have a suite for them, like a club suite for the media.
Yeah.
And they would comp the food and the beer. And
They would do a lot of stuff. Like they did a tour of when Jerry's World opened. They did a tour of
I remember
Jerry's
that.
World. That was sweet.
They did a press conference there too. I
Yeah.
remember that.
And so I remember in Texas, the very one of those ones that was in Dallas, might have been that one or before that, but Joel Klatt was brand new, and he was just like a radio talk show host in Colorado, and he just like sat down and we were just shooting the breeze, talking, and you could just tell, my God, this guy is going to be like really good.
Yeah,
Like
he got good.
he
I
just-
mean, you could argue he's the best. You could. Sorry, Herbie. I mean, you could. These days I almost like listening to Klatt better than Herbie. I think Herb Street's really good.
I'm with you.
But
I think he
Klatt-
sticks the landing a lot better. Like when you hear his delivery, the way he presents it, and then he sticks the landing. That is the key in this.
Abby agrees with you.
In this YouTube TikTok era, you got to stick the landing.
He sticks it. You're right. Good point, Sean.
Trying to think if there's
Bad point on Blake Corum, but good point on that.
the Big 12 also used to always do. Remember the Fiesta Bowl would always sponsor kind of like
What?
an evening.
Yeah.
Soiree.
Yeah, I do remember. It's incredible.
My very first media days, Gary Java, first guy that hired me in radio back at 1620, pre Kevin Kugler. He just like, Sean, you go to these things. I'm just going to give you some advice. Don't be the lead drunk.
Meaning,
Just hang back. Just follow the pace setter.
It's like you're going to get excited that there's a bunch of free beer laying out, but just act like you've been to the show before.
Don't be the lead car.
very that's sage advice.
Because
Savvy.
you go to these things and they put out free stuff for the media. I mean, there's guys that act like they've never left the house before.
It's like part of an open bar, you know. He's like double fisting, puke and rally.
They'll always be the last call, and they'll be the guy that gets like
Open bar,
6
dude.
bottles, takes
Yeah.
them back to his
Oh, yeah.
table. Robin's like, yeah, I've been that guy.
I've been the pace car a few times.
Oh my God, Rob. Yeah, well, you know what? Now
My
that I think
younger
of, now that
years.
well, not that much younger. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Now in the Big Ten, we
Pre-40.
don't. There is no
Full stop.
comped media bar or anything like that.
No,
they,
there's
they
not.
box lunches, and I mean, it's nice lunch setup, but nothing. You can't even bring your soft drinks into Lucas Oil
it's pretty buttoned down
because you can't spill. They don't want you spilling your coffee on the turf, which I get.
Big shout out though, because that is a gorgeous, handsome arena. I mean, it really is.
The only negative is you get those field turf BBs in your socks every day.
The tires.
seems, yeah, I guess.
You ever walk around in dress shoes on field turf for a whole day?
You get some of those beats.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of them. I mean, you have to like knock your shoe
It's part
out.
of the experience.
Part of the deal. But yeah, I'm excited to be in Indy. Well, full coverage.